Danny B's rising stardom started to reveal more of his dark side. An occasional drink after work began to become shots during his shift. Danny B failed to learn from his past mistakes.
Danny B would walk around and pound drinks like nobody I've ever seen before. I mean, even drunk out of his head, he would still be better. He would still be better than probably any other bartender I've seen. Roger, doctor!
And then he met Peaches and Cream, and there was no stopping Mr. Danny B.
Former business partners, Peaches and Cream.
Well, we met Danny B at a party. Well, actually, it was an after hours that he was working, and we just had gotten off work, and well, we wanted to party.
Yeah. We saw the Danny B magic, so we decided to like take him home and show him a little magic of our own.
Well, I mean, first time's for love, but then it'll cost you like $100.
Yeah.
Peaches and Cream? Oh, yeah. Wow, these girls were unreal. When I first met them, they were working at some rub and tug joint out on Ventura Boulevard. And, you know, they'd call me up after work, I'd go over there, and I would go home broke every time.
Well, I mean, when we couldn't make it in, we'd like send a cab over to get them, because, well, I mean, with some of our clients, we'd want to get a little drink in them, but with Danny B, you wanted him to come straight over.
Yeah.
Soon Sonny began to become suspicious and confronted Danny B.
And then it dawned on me that it wasn't very likely that he'd be mugged every night for a month and not even have a scratch.
You know, I couldn't afford being one of their customers anymore, so I finally just became their boss. And you know what? Whoever said pimping ain't easy is just out of their mind.
Well, we were used to making like 50, $100 a pop, and then Danny B started sending some like regulars out of his bar over to us, and they were like big money clients.
Well, he's the one that suggested that we work as a team. I mean,
Yeah.
1 + 1 = 4, baby, you know? But anyway, well, we started telling some of our girlfriend about the money that we was making, and I mean, we wanted them to come along and
Yeah.
be part of it, you know?
Because we couldn't keep up with all the business.
Yeah.
Danny B was now a hot after-hours bartender and a successful pimp. Danny and Peaches and Cream soon settled into a wild ride of making money and gaining notoriety.
Sure, I knew the little wanker was running girls out the club. Who didn't? But I was making so much fucking money, you know, I didn't really pay it no mind. But then it came.
The wonton wahoo.
The wonton.
Wahoo!
The bloody wanton wahoo.
Who knew that along the action and a little bit of experimentation could create such a revolutionary cocktail?
Danny B came up with a special drink for bar regular and celebrity publicist Joan Klein.
He had a little time and he decided to make up a special drink for my birthday. And since I'm part Asian, we decided to call it Wonton Wahoo.
Yeah, that's right. I said revolutionary. Because this drink changed the whole Hollywood club scene. This drink was revolutionary. And you know, you got Skip Del Rey on Sunset up there at Dublin saying that his raspberry kamikaze was this, you know, this Svengali of drinks. And Jay down at Lola's, you know, that guy, oh, we created, look at us, we created the apple martini. That doesn't work for me. I even took this thing to the U.S. government and tried to have it patented, but I guess they said, you know, we don't do things like that, so.
I brought a couple of my clients in, Christian and Carmen, and they loved it. Soon it became a rage. People were coming from all over to get the drink, from London to Paris. It was that big.
The little bastard wouldn't tell anybody how to make the damn drink. He would mix up huge batches at home before he came into work, right? I heard some guy at Sky Bar, these bartenders over at that fancy dancy club Sky Bar, they try to find out how he makes the drinks. So they take some drinks, they take it home and they analyze it to find out what's in the drink unsuccessfully. He didn't even tell me what was in the drink, and I was his freaking partner. Unbelievable, unbelievable.
So with a hot bartender and a legend in the making cocktail, Percival decided it was time to take his show to prime time.
We decided to ask Dublins if we could have their Sunday night. It was a dog of a night, really. They would give it away if they could, but that bastard still tried to negotiate with me when I knew he was getting no customers because of the competition with the after hours clubs, right? So I take Danny B, and I've got a plan, right? I've got Danny B's wonton wahoo, and he don't know this, right? So I go over there and I negotiate, and that's my strength. I am Percival Wentworth the Third. That's not because I made it past the 3rd grade 3 times. That's like really high. So I knew exactly what I was doing. So I took that Sunday night, and I will never forget it. That first Sunday night, you should have been there. The girls, the women, and the women girls.
Yeah, that night was unreal. It was the first night, and so many people were trying to get in. You know, our valet filled up at 6 o'clock, and our club didn't open until 9 o'clock.
And I remember that first night. I mean, wow. Wow. I mean, that's all I can say.
Yeah.
And Danny B certainly didn't disappoint all his fans.
No. I mean, the Danny B magic was there, and it was smoking hot.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the only hitch was we ran out of wonton wahoo at midnight. And a few people went away disappointed, but that made them that much more eager to come back in the next week.
Soon clubs up and down the Sunset Strip began to clamor for Danny B and Percival to do a promotion night at their bars. It became known as the Danny B Roadshow. Every night Danny B worked became a Hollywood must-see and be-seen event.
That was him at the top. I mean, those next few months, wild. So much of everything for everybody. Just like money, booze, drugs, sex.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that he liked to do was, he'd like to do a couple lines off our tits, but, we did a couple lines off his stinky wiener too, but you can get like 3 or 4 things off that piece,
Yeah,
so,
he does have a big stick.
Yeah.
Sure, I used little stuff, you know, here and there. A little. But just kept me on top of my game.
Drugs. That was the least of Danny B's problems. He had a pecker the size of my thumbnail. It was like a rat, but not like a big city rat, you know, but like one of the country rats with no hair and pink, real little. But the problems with Danny B got bigger and bigger, unlike his pecker, you know, which stayed the way it was. He had a publicist. He had a goddamn publicist, a bartender with a publicist. Have you ever heard of that? I've never heard of it, and I don't think nobody else has. If you have, call me.
He really needed one. He had requests for photo shoots and personal appearances. His name was all over the tabloids. The Globe even offered $1 million reward for the person who could find the recipe for the wonton wahoo. It was a phenomenon like none I've ever seen before.
Danny B's life was barreling along like a freight train, without any brakes. Signs of trouble soon began to pop up. Danny B's brother moved to LA after his family read numerous tabloid stories of his wild ways. The family was right to be concerned.
So Mom and Dad thought it'd be a good idea if I moved to LA and helped straighten Danny out. I think they were sick of the drunk phone calls at 6 a.m. He would call and say he was going to give it all up and buy a ferret farm. What do you say to that?
Sonny, tired of hearing about all the women and drugs, decided to leave Danny B.
I was gone 2 weeks before the fucker even realized I left.
Well, he was kind of shook up about her leaving, but having his brother with him helped, you know. And they call themselves the Killer Bees. It's kind of stupid if you ask me.
Yeah. I mean, but they had more in common than the last initial. That's.
Now I had 2 of these guinea bastards to deal with. Tell you what, it got ugly.
I just wanted my fair share. No more of this 50-50 crap. I wanted 70-40. And then Percival's mumbling something about, you know, the numbers not adding up right or something like that. I don't know what he's ever talking about. But, you know, those people, they were there to see my magic, and they were there for the wonton wahoo.